We're staying with Cannes next for our business update with Stephen Carroll. Stephen, the event, when it happens, takes over the town and is a real boost for the local economy.
Even this year, in its more restricted format, the Cannes Film Festival will bring tens of thousands of people to the French Riviera. It's a very important period for local businesses as demand for accommodation and restaurants soars. They'll be hoping to make up for the lost earnings over the past 18 months, as Catherine Viette now reports.
As the glamour of the Cannes Film Festival returns, local businesses are rejoicing, ready to welcome the influx of visitors. Event organizers expect about 20,000 attendees, half the regular number.
Écoutez, d'abord une vraie renaissance après la période difficile que nous avons connue.
Because of the global pandemic, last year's event was canceled, dealing a blow to the region. In pre-pandemic years, the film festival's economic impact was estimated at almost 200 million euros. For hotels in Cannes, it represents 10 to 15% of their annual revenue.
We lost all the international conventions, and congress and large events like the film festival. So we lost millions, and we lost most of it. It's all the foreign clients.
This year's festival goers will be crossing paths with more sunbathers than usual after the event was moved from May to July. With international travel still under some restrictions, the crowds will also be more local.
Les réservations commencent à revenir. Après un retour à la normale complet, non. Auparavant, nous avions à peu près 50% de clientèle internationale et 50% nationale. Là, ça a été complètement renversé. Il nous manque bien sûr les Américains, les Anglais, les Italiens.
Business won't be quite as usual during the festival. The trademark glitzy parties have been scaled back to smaller numbers, as organizers say all health protocols will be strictly followed.
Next, Stephen, to the price of oil, which is continuing to rise today.
Oil prices have hit a 3-year high after a gathering of top producers fell apart without any agreement on changes to global supplies. The OPEC cartel of oil producers and their allies were meant to meet on Monday to discuss a deal to boost output until it was called off when the United Arab Emirates failed to agree to a Russian and Saudi proposal to increase production. Now, oil prices have been rising in recent months. A year ago, Brent crude was trading around $43 a barrel. It's now edging closer to $80. The OPEC Plus group had cut oil supplies to support prices during the pandemic, but this time around they were seeking a deal to reverse some of those cuts as demand has picked up. The failure to reach a deal continuing to hit oil prices today. The international benchmark Brent crude trading over $77 a barrel, WTI up as well. A White House spokesperson has urged the group OPEC to find a compromise on the issue.
Now, Stephen, the iconic French car brand Bugatti is changing hands.
The brand has been sold by its current owners Volkswagen to a new company, so it'll be jointly owned by a Croatian startup called Rimac and VW's Porsche unit. It's the end of an era for Bugatti, which has spent 2 decades owned by the German giant. But as Volkswagen shifts more towards electric vehicles, the brand's big combustion engines were out of place. Rimac also produces electric supercars. Its founder described the Bugatti deal as a perfect match. Bugattis will continue to be assembled in France, with engines developed and made in Croatia.
How are the stock markets doing this Tuesday?
European markets trading in the red this lunchtime. Shares in oil companies are getting somewhat of a benefit of those increased oil prices. Looking ahead to US trading later, shares in the ride-hailing firm Didi look set to plunge when Wall Street opens. That's after Chinese regulators ordered its app to be removed days after it listed on the New York Stock Exchange, part of a general regulatory crackdown there on Chinese tech companies. That's how European markets are trading, and it looks like a similar picture when Wall Street will open in a couple of hours' time.
Now, Stephen, if holiday makers are looking to rent a car this year, things are very expensive. Why?
It's a problem being seen in many parts of the world. Car rentals firms sold off their fleets last year when demand fell during the pandemic, but many have been unable to buy as many replacements as usual because of shortages of certain car parts. In France, that's resulted in a sharp rise in prices at the start of the summer holiday season.
Hitting the road in a rental car may just be this summer's mission impossible. All the family cars in this Paris rental agency's fleet are already booked.
Nous avons subi beaucoup de retard de livraison de la part des constructeurs. Et c'est l'unique explication. Puis la crainte aussi peut-être de certains loueurs de prendre un risque en achetant une flotte inappropriée peut-être à l'activité.
It's a problem facing vacationers around the world. The global pandemic wiped out demand for rental cars. Facing catastrophic losses, rental agencies sold off much of their fleet. And now with demand surging, they're scrambling to buy new vehicles, just as the automotive sector has been hit with a massive chip shortage, delaying new production. It's a perfect storm that's seen car rental prices skyrocket. Here in France, this week, one company was quoting just over €430 a week to rent a compact car, while a sedan goes for just over €1,200. And a recent study shows prices have increased by an average of 35%. In holiday hotspots, the price hike is even steeper. Some vacationers are turning to the car-sharing market to book a vehicle.
Aujourd'hui, ce qu'on observe, c'est qu'une voiture qui est mise en ligne par son propriétaire reçoit tout de suite des demandes, entre 1, 2, 3, 4 demandes dans la même journée. Notre volume d'activité aujourd'hui a doublé par rapport à la même période en 2019.
Rental car agencies are not expected to have their fleets fully restocked until 2022.
So, Stephen, you won't be renting a car this year.
I will not. All by train this summer.
I'm driven, so I don't know what's going to happen. We'll see.
Driven crazy.
Finally, from you, a French startup that's just become a unicorn.
The online DIY marketplace Mano Mano has been valued at over $2 billion after its latest fundraising round. That makes it a unicorn. It's when a company surpasses a $1 billion valuation. It's a big jump from the last time Mano Mano raised funds in January 2020. Then it was valued at around $640 million. The company's seen a huge jump in sales during the pandemic as more people tried to upgrade their homes during lockdowns. I did very little DIY during lockdowns, Delano. I don't know, were you out painting?
I did a lot
house
of cleaning during the lockdown.
How dirty was your house beforehand?
No, I mean, I just cleaned things that I just...
Deep cleaning?
Deep cleaning, spring cleaning, and got rid of a lot of things.
Come round to my house today.
I was hoarding. You can't afford me. Stephen, thank you very much for that. Stephen Carroll there with the business news. More news coming up. Stay with us. This is France 24.